Okay, this is my garden junk. It's actually my trellising equipment. I use a lot of fence posts. I use a lot of these hoops. This is just electric fence wire that already comes in a big spool thing, and you can cut sections of it. You can poke these into the ground to cover your wide beds. You can put netting over that if you need to, or plastic over it if you need to. Whatever. It's very useful. This is the old tomato cages. My father gave me these years ago, and of course they're no good for tomatoes. They're too small and light, but I use them for peppers. This stuff is concrete reinforcement wire, and I love it. You have to go to a construction place to get this, but it comes in big spools. And that's why it's naturally round in shape. It comes off of a big spool or a big round piece. I love to put these over my beds. First of all, I can use that almost all year long. First, I start out by putting it over my pea bed. And the pea vines grow up through it, and their tendrils attached to it, and they don't fall over. It's a wonderful way to trellis your peas. And talk about easy. I have about 7 of those, and I plunk them down on my wide bed that's about 40 feet long, and I just trellised my whole pea bed. And then after the peas are done, I take it off and I put it on the pepper bed or someplace else where plants are prone to fall over. So that is a good thing. And another use for it is that you can put that over a bed of fall lettuce, for instance, and then cover it with plastic, clear plastic, and you've got an instant mini greenhouse to extend your season that way. This is a tomato cage made of concrete reinforcement wire also. They are wonderful. I put several of these in a row, a fence post at both ends and maybe one in the middle, and then I wire them all together and to keep them from falling over. And here's another tomato cage that's made just from fence wire. So that's a good way to do it. And then I love these. These are just plastic jugs. They're not milk jugs. They're kind of flimsy. These are vegetable oil jugs. And I cut the bottom out. And you can put these over your plants early in the spring to keep them from freezing. So, works great. Okay, this is our magnificent tall sprinkler thingamajig. Up here there's a hole right here that the sprinkler, it would be a 3/4 pipe, a PVC pipe that we've made some risers out of. And they're about 8 feet tall, and they're wonderful. They'll go up and over the top of anything tall, like tomato cages or bean trellises or corn. Those are the 3 tall things that we usually have to use these for. And they work really well. My husband welded them together. They will never wear out. Here I've got some different heights of sprinklers, and these short ones this is what we have the most of, but for some of the plants, I love that height for like squash and potato vines, things that get a little taller. And then these are good for berry bushes, raspberry bushes and things like that. Then we have some 8-foot ones that we put over the corn and tomatoes and pole beans. So that's how we water. I love this metal sled base. You'll just have to see what kind you can find. This doesn't deteriorate. These little yellow plastic ones are kind of falling apart, so we'll have to replace them. Okay, here I have my row of 3 sprinklers. It works so well. It's a 40-foot length of bed. 2 sprinklers almost does it, but 3 kind of gets the corners better, so I do 3. You could do a row of 3 and then a row of 2 and then a row of 3. That would cover pretty well. But I love this fine spray that these put out because they don't wash seedlings out of their place. They don't damage, they don't splash dirt up onto the leaves of young tiny little plants. I just love these. They're just like a gentle rain. Okay, right here you can see one of my tall sprinklers. I love these sprinklers to go over corn and pole beans and tomatoes. Those are the three things that I use them the most for. That's just an 8-foot piece of PVC pipe. I think it's 3/4, and you can screw it into a base and hook a hose up to either end of it and put a sprinkler head on top, just a fine spray. And boy, these are wonderful because I never have to worry about anything getting over the top of them except my beans. And there is one problem with those tall sprinklers. I do fasten the sprinkler onto the onto the bean trellis with a piece of wire. And the beans climb up it. So when we get over there, I have to use my stool in order to reach, because I can't reach that high. Okay, here my onions are growing. I had my 15 or 20 onions that I saved over last winter, and I stuck them back out in the ground last month. They're growing, and I've got these little tomato cages on them because I know that when they get tall and they get the flowers on them, they get top heavy and sometimes they'll fall over. These round things, my husband got their actually damaged manholes. I don't know how he found these, but he got them for $10 a piece and hauled them home put them in place with the tractor. They're really heavy, but they sure work well to keep my herbs in bounds. I've got peppermint and chives and lemon thyme and spearmint and oregano. Some of those herbs that are more invasive, those are the ones that you would want to put in a place like that. On the outside of the ring, I have sage. This is sage. It doesn't spread, you know. A sage is a well-behaved little bush, and if you had a couple of sage plants, just cut it off and use the leaves, and it grows up, and you cut it off again. And sage is wonderful. They don't spread very much.